Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Women Like Me Stories in Business. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, is all I can say. Hang in for this one. Not only is it going to be super interesting, it's going to be fun to talk about. Wait till you hear it. It's amazing. So hang in there. So I am with Ash Fox, and she is about marriage proposals. So let me give you a little intro. A marriage proposal may last only a few minutes, but the story behind that moment can be told for generations. My guest today, Ash Fox, has built an extraordinary career around helping couples create and preserve that unforgettable yes. Ash is the founder of Ash Fox Proposals, a New York based proposal planner, renowned photographer, and the host of the Proposal Pass podcast. Since 2012, Ash and her team have helped and photographed more than 3,000 marriage proposals for couples from around the world. Her work combines creativity, precision, emotional intelligence, and a deep understanding of the couple behind the celebration. From private New York rooftops and quiet corners of Central Park to elaborate destination experiences, Ash believes a proposal should never feel like a copy of someone else's love story. So today we're going behind the photographs. We're going to discover how Ash has created this fascinating business and what thousands of proposals have taught her about love and why the moment should be preserved. And it should be part of the story that we never leave behind. Oh my goodness, Ash, welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Julie. That was a great intro.
Oh, well, perfect. It was easy to do. You have so much great information out there. Okay, let's begin. So you began as a photographer in New York City's music and nighttime scene, nightlife. So how did it eventually lead you into a marriage proposal business?
I know. It's so funny how it came to be, right, Julie? Like I could have never predicted this is where my life would go. I I feel like I'm an unlikely person in this. Like I never watched the show The Bachelor. I never was like the girl doing like her own wedding, like like playing pretend for her own wedding and things like that. Like it was not my thing was not the wedding industry at all. I was a photographer, really excited to like potentially be a photographer for Rolling Stone magazine or Spin and like photograph all the bands and all of this. And so that's what I was doing at the time. I was photographing bands. I was in this rock and roll nightlife scene. And I was just becoming a photographer day by day, but getting better at my craft and refining it. And it was all fun and games and wonderful. And I had a great time. But then I got burnt out because I was in this nighttime scene and things were changing in the little New York scene that I was in, where it was moving away from rock and roll and more into this other kind of music and with a different crowd with people who are doing drugs and these types of things that I want to be around. And I didn't want to be up until 3 a.m. every night. And I remember I said to my dad, I was like, what do I do? I don't want to lose this. I've created something in this rock and roll world, but I'm afraid to leave. And he's like, you need to go do baptisms, weddings, corporate events. And I'm like, Dad, that's not cool. Like, I don't want to do that, right? Like, I feel like a sellout. But I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I need to take a chance. I need to try something different. And I ended up doing just that. And so I was doing weddings and all these other kinds of events. And one day, and this is back in like 2011, 2012. One day, someone approached me and said, Hi, I need photos of my marriage proposal. And I was like, Marriage proposal? That's crazy. Like, why would you want photos of your marriage proposal? And, if you wind back the clock to 2011, 2012, like Instagram, I don't even think had gotten started until 2013. And so it
Yeah.
wasn't something common that people were doing. Like, people didn't share, didn't even really have pictures of the proposal. It was like a very I think, new thing. And in
Yeah.
any case, I went and did it. And it was I wasn't an expert back then, so I didn't completely know what I was doing, but I did the job. And when it was all over and when it was all said and done, I'm like, you know what? This is one of the most intimate, it's one of the most romantic moments of your whole life. It's about the two of you, it's not the wedding. At that point in time, I had photographed many weddings, so I saw that this is very different. It's not a performance for friends and family. Like, this is
Mhm.
really about your commitment, your love, one person really saying, like, this is what I want to do. I want to make this moment special for, the other person who's receiving the proposal, like the proposee, you could say. And I felt so, honored to be there and be part of this moment. And then it was like the universe just kept on showing me little breadcrumbs along the Yellow Brick Road, like saying, like, this is the path that you're headed in. Because next thing you know, a week after doing that proposal, another person came to me and said, hey, can you help me with my son's proposal? He's proposing on the lake in Central Park. And it was literally the same location that I had done the week before. And I'm like, what? This is crazy. And when it was all said and done, she grabbed me and said, Ash, this is your calling in life. Like, you're meant to help people with their marriage proposals. And I'm like, are you crazy? Like, I didn't say that to her, but I was
Yeah.
thinking, like, really, this is what I'm meant to do. But I kept on getting pushed in this direction. And one thing led to another. So at a certain point, I had then done, it just kept snowballing. So I had done like 12 proposals. And I
Wow.
remember I was still, I didn't identify at that time as like any sort of proposal expert. I just was like, I'm a photographer and I'm doing proposals. And so I wanted to make a little intro video for my website at the time saying, like, hi, I'm Ash, I'm a
Yeah.
photographer. And I told my assistant, like, let's set it up. And I started talking and I didn't have a script. And I was just like, you know what? Let's just make a separate video about proposals and then we'll go back to me talking my intro video for the website. So by the end of the day, all I had was this video of me talking about proposals. I put it on YouTube. And next thing you know, my phone was ringing off the hook, like men being like, Ash, like, you are clearly an expert. I need your help. Please help me with my proposal. And I kept on, that's what I started doing. And then all of a sudden, news was calling me and they're like, you're the proposal photographer of New York City. Like, we need to talk to you. And then over time, I said to myself, my men need more. That, like, not only am I, what really set me apart was I wasn't just a photographer, I was really
Yeah.
coaching them through this process because most
Yeah.
men, they were, and also women too, they were proposing for the very first time most of the time, or maybe the second time in their life. But
Yeah.
it wasn't like they'd seen so many proposals, so they didn't really know how to time it or how to surprise their partner. And I
Ah,
started helping them with all these things. And so then over time, I saw that there were other needs that they had. Like, they might want a private venue to propose, or they might want decorations, or they might want a musician who's playing their favorite songs. So I started expanding and adding all of these things. And now, we do first, we're a one-stop shop, full service proposal planning for people from all over the world, mainly people coming to New York City to get engaged, but we do proposals also in Los Angeles, we can do proposals in Paris, Rome, wherever you are, like, we can for certain clients service them in these places.
yeah.
And yeah, it's cool. It's not what I expected, but here I am, and I'm so grateful to be doing this after 15 years.
Wow. It's interesting how when we sort of go, I'm done with your first what you were doing, and then you just kind of allow the universe starts to just show you the direction that you're supposed to be going. And now look, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah. And it is so fun. I just was all over your website. I'm just like, this girl is having a good time with her job. I love it. Love it. So, did people immediately understand your idea? So, when you started, I'm assuming marketing and putting it out there, did people understand, or did you have to convince them that it was a service that they needed?
You know what, Julie? I've been so lucky that I didn't have to. No,
Mm.
they come and they still do. They come to me and they're like, I know I need this service. Like, somehow it just, I think it scratches the itch of what my guys need. I mean, I mostly work with men. I work with lots of women proposing to women as well. Like, those are my two biggest demographics, men proposing to women and women proposing to women. And both of those groups are just like, Ash, this is what I need. Like, they come to me and they need it. So I didn't have to, I'm very lucky. And I know the privilege of that. Like, a lot of people do have to do a
Yeah.
lot of convincing and explaining what this new concept is. I
Yeah.
think that I was in a very fortunate position that I was on the precipice of a new industry that was coming to really be. And now
Yeah.
it is a full-blown industry and people do this in all over the world. But what I was going to tell you too, to what you're saying is that
Yeah.
when I first started getting press, so when I first started getting featured in magazines, and then in
Yeah.
2017, this website was called Elite Daily. I don't know if you've heard of it, but they used to make a lot of viral videos, and they did a profile of me, and it went crazy viral. It went to 12 million views, and people were, I mean, it was a lot of views, and so the comments were nuts, like so many comments just responding to like what this lady does. And the comments were a mix. There were a mix of people saying, like, why do you even need this? Like, why can't men figure this out on their own? And like a lot of people saying that, to which I saw it as like, they don't understand that these are really good men and good women doing this. These are people who actually, a lot of them do have an idea, but they want to do it right. They don't know how to
Yeah.
execute it. They might need services. It's not just that like they can't figure it all out. Like, but there's pieces of the puzzle that they need help with, and they'd rather hand it, get help. So anyway, but there was people saying that. There was people being like, "Oh my God, I didn't even know this was a job that exists. I want to do
Yeah.
this job."
Yeah.
So it really was a mix of reactions, the people
Yeah.
having to it. And at the time, I felt a little defensive. I'm like, I need to defend my clients because like of why they need this service. But like, thankfully, I never had to convince my clients of what this
Yeah.
is and why
Yeah.
to work with
Yeah.
me.
But it's, if you want to be, if the man, I'm going to talk more about men, if men
Yeah.
want it to be, so special, and I mean, my goodness, you want to sweep her off her feet? Just take a look at some of the photographs that you've taken. I mean, that's like he's brownie points for the rest of his life. My goodness.
And that's exactly it, Julie.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's like this is a once in a lifetime moment that you're going to talk about probably for the rest of your life. Because I always say, do you want to be at a dinner
Yeah.
party and someone's like, oh, how did you guys get engaged? And you're like, you shrug your shoulders, like, oh, you tell the story. You don't want them to be like that. You want to be fighting for like, who gets to tell
Oh,
the story? Oh my gosh, he did it so incredibly, and this is how it happened, and he surprised me, and I was so shocked. Like, you want them to like light up all over again and feel all
oh,
those emotions and feelings again.
yeah. And what a way for your children and grandchildren to see how much you loved each other.
So right.
I mean,
The
not that,
heirloom.
yeah, yeah, but, and I'm not, nothing, I mean, my husband and I love each other dearly. We had, I don't even know if it was an official a proposal, right? But we love each other dearly. But so, of course, you don't have to go out and be elaborate,
Yeah.
but to have that and to have the photos and just how and they're beautiful, like the flowers and just the signage, and to be able to have that, and for your grandkids to go, wow, like grandpa really loved grandma, you
So true.
know
It's
it
so
is.
true. It's
Yeah.
wonderful. It's just passing, spreading the love. Like I'm all about that. Like that's, part
Yeah.
of my ethos. It's like it's all about the love, and yeah, and it doesn't, and like you said before, it doesn't have to be elaborate. Like things can be elaborate, things could be very simple. It just depends on,
Yes.
it's about showing your partner, I get you. I know who you
Yeah.
are. I want to show you, I want you to feel seen. I want you to feel celebrated in who you are.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. And it can
Yeah.
be very elaborate for, there's glamorous girls who want something elaborate. It fits them.
Absolutely. Yes, I've got two stepdaughters that would have loved that.
Ooh,
Yes, yes,
so cool.
absolutely. And it's a different, it's a different time now too, like my girls, my stepdaughters have had babies, and so they've had the photography, the pregnancy photo. There was none of that going on when I was having kids, so it's very, very different. So it's the right time for being able to celebrate them and have that memory with what you're doing. I think it's just outstanding.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Julie. Thank you, Julie. No, and it's true. Like what I do is very much part of the time. Like it came from the times changing. It's so true. Like if it
Yeah.
hadn't been, our culture was moving toward documentation, like people wanting to document and people wanting to show, with the advent of like Facebook and social media, like people were like, I want to show what's going on in my life. I don't want to just tell what's going on in my life. I want people to
Yes.
see a picture and get it. And now
Yeah.
it's videos, and now people want even more of these visual things because of the world that just, we've got social media and we've got these tools to share and show. And so a lot of people want to do that. And there's also people
Yes.
who are private. There's people who don't share any of it on social media. They keep
Yeah.
it for themselves. And
Yeah.
that, I love that too.
Yeah, exactly. So many creative women struggle charging properly for work that feels deeply personal. So,
Mm.
how did you learn to place a financial value on creativity, experience, and emotional labor?
You know, Julie, such a great question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that before, but I love that question. And I think it's important that women talk more about money and talk more about finances because a lot of times I think like when they've done studies, like that's the main thing holding us back a lot of times is because we
Yeah.
don't have those conversations. So it's a great question. Now, I'll tell you, when I first started out and I was a photographer, my bread and butter, one of my bread and butter jobs was I was a photographer in this like hotel bar where this rock and roll party was going on. And I got paid, if I recall, like $80 for 4 hours of shooting.
Oh,
You could do the math. Like,
yeah,
I
yeah.
literally, and I was so grateful for this job, Julie. I can't even tell you. I was like, oh my gosh, no one's taking this job from me. Like, I was so, I never missed a day. Like, I would show up sick. One time I had like pink eye or something, and I just
Yeah.
had like a eye patch over my eye, and I
Oh.
was like, I'm still doing this job. I'm like, no one's leaving, no one's taking this job for me, you know. Because I felt like it was a special thing. And
Yes,
truly it was. It was a stepping stone. And so I
of
think it's
course.
important for it's important for women who are creative to like one, you can't come out of the gate and start charging crazy prices. Like it just doesn't work that way because
Yeah.
what you need to do is it's almost like you don't want to be completely tone deaf. Like you don't want to be like the person on American Idol who really doesn't have the talent and goes on there and then feels humiliated and like, there's times to put yourself out there, but then it's also you
Yes.
have to read the room. And when they tell you something, you got to listen. And
Yeah.
so what I did was I was an artist. I went to NYU. I was an art major there. And truly, Julie, I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I was over there and they were telling me you're going to be a professional artist who shows around the world. And I was like, well, how is this all going to happen? And they're like, well, go be a bartender and you'll make your art at night. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. And they're like, okay, we'll go to Shanghai and work for an artist in Shanghai. I'm like, I don't want to go to Shanghai. And I was trying to,
Yeah.
so I started freelancing and I was doing everything from graphic design to videography to styling to modeling, like literally anything I could do. And along the way, a friend gave me his camera and we were kind of experimenting together and I started doing his pictures. He was a musician and then I got hired for this party. And so anyway, but I became a photographer when I was getting the feedback from people telling me like, Ash, oh my God, that's the best picture I ever had of myself. Thank you. And I was getting that feedback that told me, oh, okay, I'm on to something. And so at that point I focused, I'm like, I'm just going to focus on photography. And then when I was just focused on photography, I took the money that people wanted to give me. I was like, all right, $80, I'll take the $80. And I did it. But then you get to a point where you start to realize, wait, my demand is going up. More people want my talent. I'm getting recognized. I'm getting featured in magazines. Like, I probably don't need to be charging these chump change prices, right? And so then you experiment. You might be like, you know what? I'm going to try charging $100 or I'm going to
Yeah.
charge $200. And I worked my way up. Now, with the proposals, it was kind of the same thing. I started at a certain amount, and then as I just started getting more and more demand, it became unsustainable to charge that small amount. So now we got to bump it up because I'm more in demand. And now it's like, hey, I'm known as the proposal photographer of New York City, and I'm written up in like number of publications. Eventually then I became a proposal planner, and it's like I'm featured in the New York Times, I'm featured in Martha Stewart magazine. Like, I got to charge, right? Like
Yes.
I've got the street cred, I built
Yeah.
up my cred. And so that's kind of how it goes. And then there's also times, to be honest, Julie, there's times where you can realize you hit a tipping point where it now doesn't make sense because you have to read the room, you have to read the market. And if the market's telling you that they can't pay what you're charging, then
Yeah.
that's sometimes we're like, I got to adjust now and bring it down a little bit. So I hope that answered your question, but I just wanted to kind of explain how we got to where we're at.
Yes, yes, no, absolutely. And I appreciate the explanation because it does show that yeah, you can't well, you can do whatever you want, but to make it work, you don't necessarily jump out of the gate and just start charging that those fantastic prices because you're not known.
No.
Yeah, you absolutely have to build that up. I totally agree with you. So, how did you move from being the photographer who handled everything herself to leading a team of capable people delivering your vision?
Ooh, Oh, that was such a journey, Julie. It's not for the faint of heart. I think any business owner will tell you the hardest part are people. And I mean, I have such wonderful people. They're not hard. It's hard to step into leadership. It's
Yeah.
hard to sometimes, it's very humbling. It's very scary, truly, to let go a lot of times when you've created something that like really feels like a baby for so many years.
Yeah.
I've been doing this 11 years before I built my team. Like that's the truth. Like I've only had my team for 4 years, like the full team that we have today. But
Yeah.
it became, like you said, it was another breaking point where it became unsustainable, where I'm like, I realized a few things. One, it's not generous to do what I was doing, to just do everything myself. It's not generous to my client. It's not generous for my life, not generous to me. And it's not generous for wonderful creative people who can actually do what I do
Mm.
under my direction and help
Yeah.
them also make a living. So I had to come to this point where I was like, this doesn't make sense. And I have to like, I gotta like, I don't know what it is, take the chains off or something that I'm
Yeah.
chained to this, or in my mind, I'm like, I'm the only person who can do all of these things in my business. But I realized no. And it was the same thing like charging. It was incremental, step by step. In the
Yeah.
same way that I built my business is the way that I built my team. It was incremental. I started with I went for a month to Denver, Colorado in 2022. And I said to my lead photographer, my assistant
Yeah.
photographer, you're going to be me. You're going to be my lead photographer on site for a month and let's see how it goes. And then my other
Uh-huh.
assistant who helped me with production, I'm like, you're going to assist him instead of assisting me and let's see how it goes. And in the meantime, I'm still going to be the advisor to my clients. I'm still going to help them
Yeah.
with their proposal, but let's
Yeah.
see if I really need to be the person there. Let's test it. And that's what
Yeah.
we did. And it was people all wanted it. No one cared that I wasn't. They were like, Ash. And
Yeah.
sometimes they said, Ash, like, oh gosh, like, are you going to be there? Like, and I had some clients who were like, oh no, like, I really, really want you. Like, I need you. And in that case, we made it work for them. But
Yeah.
it started to just show that I trained my photographers in my style. They learned how to shoot like me. Like even, you were so sweet complimenting our photos. Like, and a lot of them I took, but a lot of them my team has now took because
Yeah.
they've been able to master like the
Yeah.
way I've taught them how to do it. And like one of the foundations of what we do is beautiful photography and beautiful documentation. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's got to be perfect. So every picture I was looking at it, I was analyzing it, I was doing a full critique of every picture, like how to get it right. And then that was the first thing I essentially like hired for was like my new lead. And then we ended up training two more incredible photographers. And so we're not like an agency that just sends randos out there. Like we're a
Yeah.
small, concentrated team of artists that work together, that are in communication every day and deliver on these proposals. So, and that's the photography side. Now on the production side, we had to create systems and we also but
Mm.
I'll tell you something interesting, Julie. When I did everything myself, the decorations could only be so much because the problem was I could only handle so much and I could only do so
Yes.
much and I could only carry so much. And then once we opened it up to having like a true person responsible for that, it opened up possibilities of what we were able to give my clients. So now we're able to do like more elaborate setups and like things that I used to
Mm.
not want to do. Like I didn't like, I was too scared. I was a scaredy cat of doing proposals at night in certain places. And my team's not scared. They're just like, let's do it. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, now my clients can have these night proposals that I was too scared to do myself. So
Yeah.
it has opened things up in a really beautiful way. Yeah.
And I loved in the beginning when you said, that it's not generous
Yeah.
to be doing everything yourself. And you really made me think because it's so true. And there's people that want to learn, they want to progress in their career. And by you just taking the reins and holding everybody at bay is not helping anybody. And you're going to burn out really fast.
It's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. And that's
Yeah.
what started happening. Yeah. And that's what happened to me in the end of 2021 was I came back after COVID. Like COVID, we had to shut down,
Oh,
we had to cancel proposals. And then we
oh,
came back so strong because everyone was pent up. Everyone's like, I'm going to propose now. We're going to do it. And
yeah.
I was so busy, Julie. I was like
Oh,
fully booked out. I was running around and I was happy to be
yeah.
back. But there was also a lot I learned about myself during that shutdown time and like came back to my soul in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I started to
Yeah.
realize like something's incongruent here. And part of it is that it's not healthy and it's not scalable and it's not normal for me to be doing literally everything else and not feeling like I didn't even have my own personal life. Like I wasn't really able to because it was too much. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was an important lesson to learn. It wasn't easy, but I'm grateful that I took that chance and yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So your business depends on flawless execution because there is no second take when someone gets down on one knee. How do you manage the pressure?
And it is a lot of pressure, Julie. I manage the pressure with number one, I manage my clients' expectations. I try to
Mm,
tell them, like, truly, like, we want this to be perfect for you. We're going to do whatever we can to make sure, like, your vision comes to life in the best ways we can. Now, that all said, there's certain things that are just out of our control. Like, one thing that's out of my control is the weather. Like, I would love to control weather more than anything. Like, if I had a
yes.
superpower, at least for my business, it would be weather. And sometimes we have, we can work around it, we can reschedule things, da 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 da. But sometimes we have to just roll with what life gives us. And so sometimes it's just kind of telling my clients, like encouraging them and telling them, like, listen, I don't want it to rain for you, but I'll tell you the truth. Every time it has rained, these girls are just screaming, like, and the rain's so romantic. And like they love it. So I'm just like,
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
happy accidents in life. And so
Yeah.
even though you're trying to achieve perfection, which, I have always been a perfectionist to my detriment at times, but and it's beautiful. It's wonderful to like want to achieve something beautiful and great and perfect. But perfection sometimes is in the imperfection, and sometimes there are things like out of your control that can happen. We had something. I apologized to a client last week. I'll tell you, we had a situation. I had a client. He wanted all white flowers. And it ended up being one of the record-breaking heat waves like that we've ever had in New
Oh,
York. And when
yeah.
it came time to procure all the flowers, like some of our vendors wouldn't even allow us to buy white flowers. Like some we had some, and then some of them were like, we cannot sell you white flowers because it's a heat wave and they're going to brown so fast in this heat that we won't even give them to you.
Uh,
And so my production team was like, okay, well, we're gonna get like light pink and mix it in, and it'll still look really beautiful. And it did, and it was beautiful, and they still loved it. But my client wrote to me, he's like, gosh, they weren't all white. And I was like, I had to tell him, I'm like, I'm
yeah.
very sorry that that happened. I said, and I talked to my team. I'm like, maybe next time we should mix silks in or do something to like, because people want the color they want. And like,
Silks. Oh,
it's not what I would
yeah.
ideally do, but it's
No,
like,
no, no, but it
you know what
makes
I mean?
sense.
Like in a crazy
Yeah.
situation like that. But yeah, there's
Yeah.
just things that are sometimes out of your control. You do the best you can, but
Yeah.
also, I'll tell you the truth, Julie. In the past, I beat myself up over these things. Like I literally
Mm,
tore myself apart because I didn't have a healthy relationship, and I still am working on it, but not the best relationship with my own like sense of empathy that I have for my client and the way that I would like admonish myself and hurt myself over it, like torture myself that things weren't perfect, that I couldn't make it perfect, but it was out of
yeah.
my control. It's like, so it's something I'm always working on. It's like, how do I
Yeah.
balance my desire for perfection with like reality that like life is not perfect?
That's right. Yeah. No, for sure. Well, what do you need to understand about the couple when you begin?
Yeah, I love that. So when a couple comes in, when a client comes in the door, it's not the couple, it's just usually the man proposing.
Right.
He comes
Right.
to me, and I let first I basically assess where my client's at because my clients are usually in two different categories. One client knows exactly what he wants. He has a vision and he's like, Ash, I just need you to execute my vision. This is what I want. Or he might even be like, Ash, my vision is this picture from your website. Make it happen for me. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And we don't even spend the time on the other stuff because we don't need to. It's like he's very
Right.
clear. And I trust my clients too. I'm like, we go with what you want. If you want something that and you're clear on it, we move forward. But then I have my clients who are really not clear, the second category who come in the door and they're like, Ash, I'm starting from scratch. I have no idea what to do. What do you think? And then we talk more. It's like, okay, well, what's your girlfriend like? Is she someone who would want something more intimate and private and cozy? Or is she someone who really likes to be on display or would like a public location or would like a crowd cheering? Like, what kind of personality does she have? Like, what would feel good to her? We'll talk about other things like what's her taste? Like, is she more of like a city girl? Like, do you think she'd want that like skyline view or like urban kind of feel, glamorous feel, or would she prefer something more in nature with flowers and things like that, you know? So we figure out like their taste and style, their vibe. And then also, it's really important to me, and I tell my clients this, like it's very important to me that it's coming from them, like it's coming from my client and what he knows about her. Because
Mhm.
there's a real tendency, and this is something that I come up against a lot, where a lot of family members want to get involved in this now. Kind of
Oh,
like a wedding.
oh no.
Yeah, and friends and things like that. And like the issue with it, Julie,
Yeah,
it's not that these people don't mean well. Like, and they probably sometimes they do have great ideas, but it can become easily too many cooks in the kitchen. It can create a lot of confusion for him because he's like, oh,
yeah,
her sister's telling me this, her mom's telling me this, you know. And I'm just like, let's clear it all away. I'm focusing on you. Like, no one else is on our calls. I don't,
yeah,
oh, can my mom come on the call? I'm like, you know what? I'd prefer if mom wasn't on the call because I want to hear it from you. And I don't
yeah,
want you to feel pressured to please anyone. I don't want you to feel pressured that like some person says they really know what she wants and then you're like, okay, I got to listen to them. I want to hear from you. Like, who is she
mhm,
to you? What has she told you about herself? Like, what do you feel in your heart that feels right, that feels clear for you to do too? Like, does this feel out of your comfort zone? Does this feel like not like you? Or does this feel really like the two of you? So
yeah,
that's really my goal on my calls with my clients.
yeah. Do you ever have to talk men out of crazy ideas? Because I think men have a lot of crazy ideas.
I love that, Julie. I did in the beginning. I did at one point in time. I did. Lately, I don't. I don't know what that is, but at one time, there's always situations. I did have something recently, and it comes up a lot. When I get this sometimes, where guys are like, "I want to have fireworks," and I'm like, "I want to have fireworks too." I want to have fireworks in every single proposal I do. I happen to love fireworks. But fireworks are illegal in New York City. So it's not happening in New York City, at least if you want to do fireworks. So there's things like that. It's like sometimes managing desires, like telling them kind of like also Instagram versus reality. You know, there's those memes where
Yes.
they show the difference. And it's like sometimes people will be like, okay, I want to have the Brooklyn Bridge and it's completely empty, just the two of us, and we're going to propose. And it's like, I'm sorry to break it to you, hun, but we're not doing $100 million Marvel Spider-Man movie, so the city is not going to shut down the bridge. You know, it's like things like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Oh,
sometimes they do, and also sometimes guys have really sweet romantic ideas that I love the sentiment of. Like for instance, I'll have a guy he'll say to me like, I kind of want to put a blindfold on her so she doesn't know where she's going, and I was like, that's sexy, that's romantic. I like where you're going with that. But then I tell them the reality of it. And I tell them, like, listen, like I've seen it before. And the problem with blindfold proposals is the moment you put the blindfold on, she's like, all right, proposal's happening at any moment now. She knows
yeah.
it's like too much of a giveaway.
Yeah.
So I help them with that, like how to pare things down so we are only doing the essential things we need to do to create the surprise, create the moment, create the
Yeah.
memory, and not all these like extra extraneous things we don't need.
Yeah. Wow. So, um, so when I was looking on your watching on your website, so I made me wonder, like, it is a surprise for all or most women.
It's always a surprise.
Always a surprise.
Yeah, it's a surprise. And that's a big part of it is like figuring out how to do that. Like I spend a lot of my time
Yeah.
with my clients with like decoys, like what decoy do we use? And like every location sometimes requires a different like way of carrying out a decoy. Like I've got some of my favorite ones, but we kind of figure out which one is the most sellable. Like, sometimes I'll have a decoy and it sounds like it works for 90% of my clients. And I'll get a guy who's like, ooh, I'm really bad at like, I'm not convincing, it's not going to work. So might have to come up with something else. So no, the surprise element is like one of the essential elements in the
Oh,
proposal. Like the
yeah.
beauty, the surprise, the joy, like there's just the documentation, like all of these things are so important. But yeah, it's always a surprise.
Yeah. Is there a certain age group that we're looking at? Or are you getting people in their senior years?
I have worked with some seniors.
Yeah.
I have. The age group predominantly, I would say, is probably like it's like 20s and 30s the most.
Yeah.
But I do work with people in their 40s. I do work with people even older, 60s, 70s at times. Like I've worked with people doing reproposals where they're proposing
Oh, yeah.
again to like the woman
Yeah.
been married to for 50 years and maybe they're
Oh,
upgrading her ring. And so he proposed. I
oh,
had this wonderful client, Grant, and he's like, this woman, he's like, she is the most incredible woman. She's made my whole life. She's the mother of my children. She deserves an upgrade now. And so he got her like a big ring, a couple
yeah.
carats bigger. And he said to me, he's like, when I was so young when I met this amazing woman, he's like, I couldn't afford to do things the way I would really want to do them. He's like, but
Mm.
now I'm in that position and I want to do it.
Yeah.
And we did it. We did this like beautiful rooftop proposal for him, like
Oh,
views of the skyline, views of the city. And yeah, he got down on his knee. We did photography, decorations, videography. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment. And I love that. I love that he wanted to do that for her.
yeah. Well, what have you learned about love that surprised you, seeing as how you've witnessed thousands of couples
Yeah,
in their
yeah.
most emotional moment?
I think I'm trying to think what really surprised me the most. Well, I don't think it's a surprise, but I think that this is something that I think, well, about love. I was going to say about men, but I'll say men and then I'll say love.
Yeah.
But I feel like our culture has been really hard on men in the last couple of years. And men as a concept, yes, rightly so. Men on an individual basis, not rightly so, because
Yeah.
we're humans, and men are just like we are. We're women. We're all human, and there's a lot of the majority of men are good men, and they love hard. They want to commit. They want to do things right. They want to do a good job. And I think that that's something that like it's not enough in our culture right now being talked about. It's like all about the things men done are doing wrong, and toxic
Yeah.
masculinity and the manosphere. But it's like there's amazing, amazing men who love hard, who are so devoted and want to create amazing memories and experiences for the people they love the most. So I'm grateful I get to work with those people. With love, what I've learned about love has been more, not as much from my work, I would say. It's been more just my own experience and
Mm.
learning about myself. Like I shared with you earlier when I had that moment of burnout where I was like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, like I'm becoming out of touch with myself. And it was because and it's a good thing in my work. I'm very objective because I'm not in it. I'm able to step outside, really be in it with my client and be all about them. And but in doing that, there was a part of me that was getting lost too because I wasn't really prioritizing my relationships in the right way. And so when I was able to step away and when I was able to create a team and when I was able to have more balance in my life, like healthy balance that, like I said, helps my business more, helps my clients more. I was able to find love and the healthy love and the right love and the
Mm.
kind of man who's the kind of man who is like my beautiful client. So,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh my goodness. So, have you ever had anybody, have you ever done one where the woman said no?
Thank God, no. Thank God we got
Oh,
100%.
I
Yes,
was
track
like,
record.
oh my goodness, that would be, yeah, yeah. So, if you could give one piece of advice to someone preparing to ask the biggest question of their life, what would it be?
Okay, the biggest piece of advice I could give you is get curious about your partner. Get more curious
Mm.
than ever. And you should be curious for the rest of your life with your partner. It's important to be curious about our loved ones. Like that's what keeps the spark alive. But in terms of creating this moment, think about, it might be useful to write a list. Like think about what do I know about them already?
Mm.
Like their personality, their taste, their style, and what don't I know? And if the things I don't know, maybe now it's time to get curious. And I'll give you one like easy, tangible one. It's
Yeah,
like, let's say 6 months before the proposal. And I'm not saying to like, definitely don't have a list and ask everything all at once because it's going to
no,
give away the surprise, right? But
yeah,
like, let's say you're a year away or 6 months away or something like that. And like, you could literally be like, and you're trying to figure out, what color, what's their favorite color? What's their favorite kind of flower? Something very simple. I'm not talking about like the super heavy stuff, but
yeah,
you could be like, babe, I want to get you flowers this week. What's your favorite? What would be your favorite? Like, as simple as that.
yeah,
Now you have
yeah,
it. Like you've got that note, and now you
yeah,
know for later. And there's just things like most people do have a sense of if their partner is a more private person or more public person, all these things. But definitely just take inventory and the places where you're not sure, get curious with her. It's better to get curious with her than
yeah.
even family members and friends and all this. Because like I
Yes,
said, they start spilling the beans. Like they don't mean to, but they start spilling the
yeah,
beans that there's a proposal happening and go get your nails done. And it's just better to
yeah,
keep it tight.
yeah.
And so
Or
yeah,
they start to persuade.
Yeah.
ideas and stuff. Well, you
Yeah.
said that earlier too. Yeah,
That could be
not
wrong.
good.
That could be the wrong ones.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, so Ash, where do you like? I'm in Canada, so if I wanted you to come to Canada, would you come to Canada?
Potentially.
Potentially. Okay.
Potentially. Yes, we do. I mean, it depends on what the client. So I'll tell
Yes.
you a couple ways to work with me depending on where you are in the world and all of that.
Yes.
So like
Yeah.
if you're looking to just start out, you're like, I like what this lady has to say, and I feel like she's knowledgeable and I would like her help. We do planning sessions. I do planning sessions just like I'm talking to you on Zoom right now,
Ah.
Julie. Every single one of my clients gets a planning session. And then if you are proposing in New York, you can use that as a deposit towards your proposal. But if you're not proposing in New York, you can just get advice from me, and I'm happy to, talk to you for an hour and help
Oh,
you.
I did see that on your
Yeah,
website. Right.
yeah. Like talk
Oh,
about your vision.
so I could, because you're an expert in this, so
Yeah,
I could just give you a shout and say, "Hey, I need to have a planning session. I know you're not
that's it.
coming,
Yeah,
but help me out with my
yeah.
ideas."
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely. And we can definitely
great
do that. And
idea.
then I have other clients who might be like a high roller or a VIP type
Yeah.
of person who is like,
Yeah.
Ash, like, I want you. Like I had a guy in one of the players from the Rams in LA, big football team, NFL player, was like,
Yeah.
Ash, I'm in LA, but I know I've been following you for years. I want to work with you. Can you come out? Can we do it out there? And I'm like, yes, let's do it. He was in
Yeah.
a position to do it, so we did it, and it was amazing. And so yeah, we can do it anywhere. And if you are, or if you're someone who lives in Canada, but you're like, you know what, my dream is to propose in New York City. We have full service proposal planning there, and happy to help you.
Oh, wonderful. So we're going to have all of Ash's information in the show notes. So
Hey.
go snoop on her website. You're just going to be like, oh, it's just all so romantic. Oh, I just love it. It's just also romantic. So go have a snoop around, men and ladies. If you want to have a session, reach out to her. She can help you with that as well. It's just so different. Like I've never run into that before. And when I was researching you, I'm like, what is this lady doing? I'm like, and then I started looking at the pictures and I thought, oh my goodness, how beautiful.
Thank
Just
you, Julie.
how beautiful. Yeah. So, what do you want to say to men out there? What's your last piece of advice that you'd like to give a man out there that's thinking about it, not sure what he wants to do?
Oh, I mean, not to plug my podcast, but to plug it just because. So I haven't even
Yeah.
my podcast has been dormant now for 2 years. But there's gold on there. And so if you are just starting the process, there's free information on my podcast. It's called the Proposal Podcast. It's on all the different platforms. And the first episode, even start from the top, because the first episode is called Know Your Partner. And it's about how to, if you're starting from scratch, how to figure out what she wants and like kind of collaging together this concept for your proposal. And the second episode is all about timing, like how to figure out timing on the day of the proposal, how to figure out timing in your life. Like, is it the right time to propose? All these things. So every little niche question you might have on proposing, like I've answered so much of it for you there for
Yeah.
free. So check it out. It's a great resource on that. And also, if you just want to say hi to me or if you have any questions, please say hi. I'm on Instagram, Ash Fox Proposals, and on TikTok. And I love voice noting people. So I'm always happy to send you a little voice note and say hi.
Oh, perfect. Well, thank you for that. And I just want everybody to know that I actually snooped around on her website too. And I was reading some of the comments from some of the men who had left some comments on there, and they were like, oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was just so interesting. And so you just realize like there is a proposal struggle out there. And people want to do it right. And and you just need a little bit of advice from the expert. So yeah. Oh,
Wonderful.
well, thank you so much. I could keep talking to you for
Me
another hour,
too.
but
Me too, Julie. You're fun to
I know
talk
we
to.
can't. Yeah. But thank you so much, Ash, for doing this. I appreciate it greatly.
Pleasure.
And all the best to you. And I'm gonna keep updating your website because I want to see new pictures, whether it's you or your staff that are taking them. I love it. It's beautiful.
Thank you so much, Julie. It was a pleasure to talk to you. I really enjoyed
Oh,
it.
oh, me too. Okay, that's it, everybody, for this episode of Women Like Me Stories in Business. I almost forgot where I was. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.